Okay. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. To recap what I was just talking about. We were saying we were talking about DMX. Very very sad passing of DMX this week. Someone was talking about Kids Bop. I recently found the Kids Bop version of the Tootsie Slide, which is one of the most horrifically cursed songs you can imagine. I'm looking at the screen. Realizing nobody knows what a Kids Bop, Tootsie, or Slide is. I think we're looking at right now. But I only found it because I was looking for the Kids Bop version of WAP, which unfortunately does not exist. But that Tootsie Slide, I actually, well, I won't make Paul pull it up, but at some point we're going to pull up. What's going on? I don't know why you couldn't hear me when the music was going on. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, guys, because we have an excellent show for you all this evening. We have been keeping you waiting for about 5 minutes now, so I'm just going to jam straight into it, okay? Maybe I got some jokes I'll do later. Maybe not. We'll see. But right now, I'm going to bring to the stage a fantastic comic. He's new to the Laugh Index Theater. His name is Zach Kusan. Give it up for Zach.
Yes. All right, y'all. Just keep it going for Julian. He's an excellent host. The great head of hair, I might say. Got some music going. Wait for that to die out. So yeah, what's up, y'all? My name is Zach. Are we still looking at Max here? He's got a beautiful face, but I feel like he is the center focus right now. No, it's just me. All right, well, here we go. Anywho, yeah, my name is Zach. It's a solid single syllable name for a white dude. But that's Zach with an H. Z-A-C-K, that's a little too close to the word sack for me. Because, God forbid your fifth grade class makes that connection. And then you are nutsack Zach for the next 8 years. I'm also not a ZAC, though. Those guys, just a little too shifty, in my opinion. Like, take Zac Efron, for example. How are we supposed to trust a guy who's just as comfortable playing the musically inclined teenage heartthrob as he is playing America's most charming serial killer? It's actually really hard for me to go back and watch like High School Musical now. It's just so much more intense because I think of it as the prequel to his Ted Bundy movie. I'm always just like, Vanessa, don't look into those gorgeous eyes. It's a trap. Having said that, though, I think I'd rather hang out with a ZAC before I spend any length of time with a guy who introduces himself as Zachary. That's a surefire sign that you're about to engage in a 30-minute conversation about someone's coin collection or perhaps what their favorite brand of plain flavored gum might be. Yeah, but I've spent most of my life living in New Hampshire. Now I live in DC. And I got to say, coming down here was actually pretty devastating for me. I had to deal with this just crushing realization that I was nothing but a walking fucking stereotype. Like, not special, not unique, just a generic hipster B, I suppose. Even the shit that I thought made me really unique. For example, my partner is a Black woman. In New Hampshire, that shit was cutting edge. People would literally come up to me on the sidewalk and be like, dude, you are fucking woke. Happened all the time, I swear. But yeah, I come to DC though, right? And I start noticing a trend. Not only are there a lot of guys that look exactly like me, a lot of them are also with Black women. Black women dating skinny bearded white dudes is a thing. I thought that was fucking my thing. I'll never forget the first time I saw another interracial couple, white dude with a Black girl. I was overjoyed. I couldn't contain myself. And I went, dude, interracial couple. All right. This guy, a complete stranger, mind you, returns the high five, zero hesitation. We both walk off with the smug sense of satisfaction that you can only find in the whitest of white men, thinking to ourselves, yes, solving racism with our dicks. White men save the day again. My girlfriend's eyes rolled so far back into her head, I thought she was about to pass out. Being with her has been incredible, though. She's taught me so much about how the world works. Like when you meet a Black dude for the first time. How do you combine a handshake, high five, and hug all in one smooth motion? My first efforts were rough in the beginning, I'll admit. I'll give you the rundown, right? So I meet this guy. We exchange names. He brings his hand out here, going for like this sideways high five thing. My brain immediately goes, oh my God, this guy's a hugger too. I go in for the hug. As soon as my hands touch his shoulders, I immediately realize, oh my God, this man does not want to be touched. It's awkward. I'm panicking internally. Instead of coming up with something useful, my brain decides to go for the European cheek kiss. Mwah! And you guys, we all know there is nothing a straight black man loves more than being kissed on the face by a white stranger with a penis. Now, I gotta say, being a white dude in black spaces has been pretty fun, though. And just because my ego is so fragile, I constantly feel the need to inflate it. So I really like impressing black folks with my knowledge of black culture. So, for example, I'll be waiting in line for coffee and just be like, oh my God, your sister locks are absolutely gorgeous. Huh, your hair is so moisturized. What texture are you? 4A, 4B? The best possible reaction you can get to that is an okay. Okay. Down, right? Like, all right, white boy, we see you. I seriously, I cherish those moments. It's like a currency for me. In fact, if anyone on the call is interested, we're actually we're launching a brand new cryptocurrency. If you want to be an early investor, it's called Woke Coin. And it's definitely going right. It's going to be great. Trust me. Just hit me up after if you're interested. Now that does get me into some pretty awkward situations on occasion, though. Like one time I was at a strip club in Montreal for my brother's bachelor party. We're enjoying the show. And then eventually a stripper approaches us, happened to be a black woman. And she goes, any of you boys want to dance? Now, I never had a lap dance before. My girlfriend was actually going to buy me one in DC, but they're like $150 here. In Montreal, they're $10 a song. And, I didn't want to be rude. So I said, sure, why not? And so she's leading me across the club to the private dance booth. And the entire time, I'm just giddy with excitement because I'm thinking about this inevitable moment where she's going to go, so first time with a black woman? And then I get to say, actually, no. I live with the black woman for the past 6 years, and she's the absolute love of my life. And then she'll go, okay. And then the value of woke coin is going fucking to the moon, right? Didn't exactly go down like that. She did ask me that question, but the phrasing she went with was, so your first taste of chocolate? Now the pressure's on me, right? Because I got to tell her I have a black girlfriend, but I also got to seem cool. But unfortunately, my brain betrayed me once again. And I went with, you can call me Willy Wonka because I live at the chocolate factory. I fucking died as soon as those words left my mouth. But, she's a professional. And so she doesn't miss a beat and follows that up with, does Mr. Wonka want some sugar? Now I'm fucking in it, right? So I just got to keep going with it. And my next line is, as long as it's natural, I don't like artificial sweeteners. Apparently that was actually the right thing to say, because the next thing I know, she's topless and dancing real close to me. And it's fun, right? It's great. But I'm not there for fun. I'm on a mission. Unfortunately, I couldn't really come up with anything clever to say. And I just, blurted out like an idiot out of the blue, my girlfriend is black.
No, God.
And then she goes, okay. And that's about as much as I was going to get. Thanks, guys. That's my time.
Keep it going, ladies and gentlemen. For nut. Zach with an H, Zach with an H.
Zach, yes.
I know at one point during that set, somehow Zach became Tiffany's hype man, and it was just a joy to watch. It became just lifting her up. And you're going to get to see more of that in a little while. But right now, you're going to get to see another hype man. That is so sorry. That is Max Rajan. Come on up, Max.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Julian, for that wonderful introduction. Appropriate as always. I am actively trying to get my computer. There it goes. All right. So one of the better parts about the pandemic is that I get to hang out more with my family. My cousin was recently pregnant. She had to get her house baby-proofed. I assume this is to keep out all the neighborhood babies. You know what they say? If you see one, there's a million in the walls. She also bought this big thing of baby formula. And I had to sit her down and say, you are already pregnant. You do not need to formulate another baby. Just be cool with the one you have. I think that babies are made too easily. I think that people should have to work a little bit more to make another human being. Like, you should have to have sex every day during the pregnancy to make that baby. You're going to need to bang it out for 40 weeks. That sounds exhausting. I think that most people would miss a day and get a messed up baby, like missing an arm or a personality. At least make someone do a CAPTCHA before they get a baby. Like, select all the tiles with people that will emotionally scar another human being. And it's just a webcam. CAPTCHA is an amazing application, and I want to meet the people that run it and ask them why they're so interested in buses and fire hydrants. I like the pictures that with the squiggly numbers and letters. Is it just me, or does this make everyone feel stoned and paranoid? Are you a 5 or an S? Come here, little numbers. Don't hide. I want to read you. To buy a Groupon. Honestly, if a bot is trying to buy Groupons for artisanal whiskey tastings at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, I think they deserve it. They sound classy. I would like to hang out with that bot. I got a Groupon to dress up like a beekeeper and stab people. The printout said fencing lessons, but I knew what I was doing. I'm trying to get back into shape. If you're looking for fitness options, I recommend you Google Nutrisystem. Not to buy the actual product, but the second that your Google profile touches that website, you will be bombarded with a constant stream of negative advertising, guaranteed to shame you into losing weight. Half of their commercials start off with 12 chunky dudes that look like your dad and dress like your dad and pointedly asking you about your insecurities. The other half are the most entitled-looking white people you know, looking you dead in the eye, saying, you know you're only going to lose weight if we hold your hand, fatty. It's psychological warfare. I've lost 5 pounds. I wake up at night screaming, but it's still 5 pounds. I got a personal trainer, and in his insight, he said, you are what you eat. In which case, I wasn't aware that I've been eating 13 years worth of anxiety and disappointment. Apparently, it tastes like the McRib. Why can't we just bring tapeworms back? That seemed like a good idea that we just let slide. They're organic, they're renewable, and you never have to take them to the fucking vet.
Oh.
I decided that the vet is just like a white people money hole. You go there, and they tell you that your cat is fat, and they vaccinate them for a disease that they will never see in their entire lifetime because the only reason they leave the house is to go to the vet. You pay them $300. And I pay it. I know who I am. But can we just get real and say that cats do not need specific breeds? They are cats. They break down into cats and funny-looking cats. I had to take my cat to the vet, and the lady asked me, what kind of cat is it? And I said, fat and needy. She told me that he is a domestic short hair. That's not a breed. That's just two descriptors that weren't any better than mine. I want to meet an international long-hair cat. Sounds like it would be European and wear tight jeans and smokes. I like big dogs. I used to have a German Shepherd. I would take him out for walkies, and people would ask me what kind of dog he is. First off, if you cannot identify a German Shepherd, you have no business asking other people what kind of dog they have. But I was nice, and I would tell them, and you would think this would end the human-human interaction at this point. But for some ass-backward reason, people feel the need to tell me what kind of dog they think he is. I've already told you the answer. I don't need your supplementary incorrect selections. He's not a Trojan dog, composed of other smaller dogs of different breeds. Or 3 Pomeranians in a trench coat. All right, thank you very much. That has been my time. My name is Matt.
Keep it going for what I'm pretty sure was 3 Pomeranians in a trench. I tried it, guys. His name's Max Rajan. I was messing around. Okay, no, I skipped someone in the lineup. But this person who's about to perform for you, in another reference that none of you will get, his set is going to be no skips. This is going to be no skips. Paul Mooney, come on up, Paul.
Yes, hello. Thanks so much for your presence, for your time here tonight. In honor of Bernie Madoff's death today. I thought I'd talk about another extremely, very large, real financial story from the past few weeks that a few people have heard of. Has anyone here heard of Bill Wong? Drop in the chat if you have. Yeah, Max has heard. But yeah, most people aren't responding. I'm gonna go over. Bill Wong is a man who a few weeks ago he was worth $20 billion, and then 2 days later he was worth $0. And very few people are talking about this, but it's an extremely interesting story. And so I wanted to find out more about what happened, and I found this story about it, and I want to share some pieces of it with you. I kind of have some issues with this story. So Bill Wong at $20 billion, then he lost it all in 2 days. Extremely embarrassing. And one issue I have is that I'm reading this and it's like, how did he do this? Who is he? Why did he do this? And what did he do? And what frustrates me about this is that the story is all focused on like how mysterious he is. It's about building the character of Bill Wong and not really saying anything about him. Let's look through this. Bill Wong was the greatest trader you've never heard of, okay? He was largely unknown. He was the biggest of whales without ever breaking the surface. He concealed his identity. In the 5th paragraph, we're still talking about who is Bill Wong? He's not a larger-than-life figure. He's very humble. There's no penthouse. There's no hillside chalet. There's no private jets. He drives a Hyundai SUV. He's modest on the outside. So at this point, I'm like 10 paragraphs into this article, and I'm like, what did this guy do? And what is driving him? I need to know. I keep reading, and it's not until the 11th paragraph that we get to this quote. Oh, hold on, sorry. We get to this quote. I try to invest according to the word of God and the power of the Holy Spirit. It's a fearless way to invest. I am not afraid of death or money. Now, why was this not the second sentence of the article? Why was this not like the headline of the article? Like, also, what the fuck, America? Like, we have people who can't get loans for a house, but a guy can get the lifetime incomes of 20,000 Americans loaned to him through several institutions and then lose it because he let Jesus take the wheel. Like make it make sense right now. Make it make sense right now. So at this point I take a step back and I was like, okay, that's only one quote. That's only one quote that he has said. This doesn't necessarily like maybe he's just a religious guy who's in finance and like he uses flowerful language sometimes. That doesn't mean he's like literally talking to Jesus when he's trading. But nope, he literally is, because he told the church that God loves Google because he cares about fair price, and then he quotes the parts of the Old Testament where they're talking about like how you need to have accurately weighed grain scales, which is like, here's the thing. The Old Testament was written over 5,000 years ago. There was one guy in the shtetl who kept screwing over people with his like grain measurements, and like they had to put that in the Bible because there was only like one book at the time. I don't think he was talking about like Google's correct stock valuation, but no. He says, "Is this important to God?" Absolutely. So I looked at that speech, and it's not worth sharing the video to just show you that 1 second, but that speech that he gave also includes the phrase "God invented capitalism." So, I'm just gonna let that stew. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know who I should be mad at. I don't know if I should be mad at Bill Wong and the American financial institution, but I also still don't like this article. And just despite one final thing of the article, apparently they let ninth graders taking standardized tests write articles for Bloomberg because they wrote the sentence, "Risk taking is to Bill Wong as basketball is to LeBron James something in his nature." What editor saw this story and then was like, the part about him talking to God about the stock market? Put that like 10 paragraphs down. Take it away from the lead. Also, forget everything you've ever learned about analogies. Forget everything you've ever learned about writing style. It's time to throw all that out the window. Anyways, I've been engaged recently, and something I've learned about love recently is that, not recently, but is that you have to, understand everyone else's shortcomings in all aspects of life, including in certain like, common sense decision making skills that they have. So I was watching a nature documentary with my partner, and when I watch a documentary, I like to be just a puddle of like THC and chocolate chips. Like I really like to cool out. I want to I am the leopard. And when Sage watches nature documentaries, she is just like high octane scared of all like the animals killing each other, which I get. But we were watching this documentary, Monkey Planet. It's all about primates. She's very noticeably uncomfortable. And I'm like, what? Like there's chimpanzees on screen. They're very cute. What's wrong with them? She's like, they just freak me out. I was like, oh, is it like an uncanny valley thing? Like I get uncanny valley when I watch like Vice documentaries about men who live with sex robots. But like if you get them about chimpanzees, it makes a little bit less sense, but like I get it. And she's like, well, no, it's like they could hurt us. And I was like, that is true. They literally can kill you with their bare hands. But like, are you really that scared of them? She's like, well, not like with their hands. And I was like, go on. And then she was like, well, if they had like a gun. And I was like, okay, stop. You're worried about a chimpanzee getting a gun around you and shooting with you. And then she was like, well, not just like one pit chimpanzee. And I was like, hold on, stop. Do you mean like a group of pin chimpanzees? And then she was like, well, all of them. And I was like, okay, pause the documentary. Hold on. We're now talking about a global primate uprising that you believe is happening. Can we please unpack this? Is this like is this like a uprising with a leader, or is this like an autonomous movement, right? If it's a movement with a leader, like who's the Toussaint Louverture? Who's the Nat Turner of this thing? Like if this is an autonomous movement, like who's printing all the anti-civilization anarchist literature and distributing arms to all these people? How do they learn to read? Are they given swinging through the trees and using their opposable feet to dual wield pistols? At this point, I'm kind of thinking it more of myself. Also, like, where do I sign up? Because like, I'm gonna be honest, if I have to side with like humanity or the primates, I'm gonna side with the primates. I'm gonna teach all the slow lorises how to do like the blow darts, like kill people from the trees. I want to like do like intel work with like the orangutans, and like when the gorillas are like beating people to death, I want to like be like forming like the battle formations. Anyways, that's on my time. Good night.
Keep it going for Paul Mooney, who will turn on us in a second. The second he sees a primate use a stick just a little too well, he's joining that side. I don't know where our next comic lands on turning against humanity should the time come. Perhaps he'll tell us, perhaps he won't. But let's give it up for Dave Rosenthal.
Okay, well, you'll be able to tell over the next 7 minutes what I think of some of humanity, right? So I have a Facebook friend who knows I work for DC, and he read something about Congress, and he contacted me through Messenger to find out if it was true. And by friend, I mean a guy I knew 45 years ago who I only hung out with because he had better pot than me. I had a lot of friends. It was about a headline he saw. It was something like, Congress threatens to leave DC unless Capitol is built. And he wanted to know where Congress would go. I think he read it in The Onion. And he believed it. He must still be smoking great shit. Maybe I should become closer with him. So I told him, no, that's not true. Congress wasn't moving because DC wasn't going to build him a new building. That's fucking ridiculous. They were good at the Caymans because they needed a tax shelter for their inside. That he believed me was funny. Until you multiply gullible people like him by 14% of America and realize that's how we got QAnon, right? And for those of you who live in a cave, and hopefully none of you here do, that's a group that follows a far-right guy named Q who says absurd conspiracy theories. And I really don't understand what the mystery about Q is. It's obvious. Any Star Trek fan could tell you. He's been on 4 fucking TV shows.
Oh, for God's sake.
Thank you, Tiffany. And besides Picard, who listens to Q? Well, there's Roseanne Barr, who lost a TV show over racist tweets, and the governor of Texas, who believes the whole coronavirus is a hoax. Yup. Now that the average Delhi death toll dropped below that of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, merely 81 people a day, the governor lifted their mask requirements. They were going to set it at the death rate of the Alamo, but he couldn't remember the Alamo. And with no mask requirement, he doubled down and fully opened all the businesses in Texas. And this is true. You can read about this in the papers. But thank God that not all Texas businesses are batshit crazy. Take Starbucks. They're willing to take a financial hit for their belief. No maskless people in their stores, like the Proud Boys, would sidle up to the coffee bar and order a decaf mocha frappuccino, grande, with soy milk and sprinkles. How will they survive without their vanilla bean scones, their pumpkin cream cheese muffins, and their exclusive Michael Bublé CDs? No, honestly, this is a really crappy idea. Nobody wants people with guns, lots of guns, that have to go through caffeine withdrawal and become even more anxious, depressed, and irritable. Who wants Proud Boys with twitchy trigger fingers? I'd say give them that cup of coffee and make it a venti. But don't give them a shot of espresso. We don't want them jittery. And Starbucks isn't the only company that's trying to do the right thing. Nah. Dr. Seuss Enterprises announced that they were going to stop publishing 6 books because they were wrong and hurtful. And I don't know how the people who brought you Green Eggs and Ham, The Cat in the Hat, and Dr. Seuss's ABCs can get by without big sellers like On Beyond Zebra, The Cat's Quizzer, and McEllicott's Pool. Do you have a copy of those? No, you don't have a copy of those. That's because they suck. They were boring even when you were 5 years old and thought chalk was exciting. Sticking googly eyes into Mr. Potato's head ear was clever. And their fart noises were just hilarious. But I do.
Oh, wow.
And I'm holding on to it. It can only go up in value, like Bitcoins, Tesla stock, and house prices during the coronavirus. Or if you believe Zach, WokeCoin. But if you really want it, make me an offer. Email me at daverosenthalscomedy@gmail.com. I'll give you a 15% discount if you like me on Lit Comedy's Facebook page. Order before midnight tonight, and I'll throw in my copy of Song of the South. Two racist classics for the price of one. Lit comedy reminds you, excuse me, I have to say this seriously, it's the lawyer me. Lit comedy reminds you that investing in Dr. Seuss books is speculative and carries a high degree of risk. You may lose some or all of your investments. And speaking of Mr. Potato Head, Hasbro's cutting out Mr. or Mrs. from the toys' names. Apparently, they feel that advertising to just two genders is wrong. So rather than add an LGBTQ plus line, they're just going to call it Potato Head. Now, that sensitivity would certainly be admirable if it wasn't that the toy only comes in brown. Now, potatoes, on the other hand, come in yellow, red, and white. Remind you of anything? How about if we spell white with a capital W? But no, potato heads only come in brown. So while they're really concerned about sexual orientation, they don't give a shit about kids sticking googly eyes into little brown heads. Heaven forbid you stick it to a little white one. And then there's Warner Brothers, who cutting out Pepe Le Pew cartoons after Pinky and the Brain's investigation was leaked to the press. It was confirmed that Pepe not only harasses all kitties, but he requires them to join him in the Casbah as a condition of being in one of his cartoons. And I quote from the report, he's the WB's Weinstein. In response, Pepe tweeted, it was fake news. And you can't believe the investigators, because though one of them's a genius, the other's insane. That's Pinky and the Brain. It turned out that Pinky harassed, groped, and chased everyone who ever crossed his path. And when he caught him, he asked him to play strip poker. Oh, wait, that wasn't Pepe. That was Governor Cuomo.
Oh.
I always confuse them because they both stink. He was harassing women while he was still living with TV chef Sandra Lee. And I don't understand it. After all, nobody doesn't like Sandra Lee. And at least Pepe never lied about deaths in nursing homes. He just chased kiddies who had pain on their backs. It's not like he gave them preferential testing at coronavirus sites. That's inexcusable. Taking its lead from Pinky and the Brain, the FBI is investigating whether Cuomo, that bozo majordomo, I just love saying bozo majordomo, that Mojo, definitely not Mojo. He might think he's Mojo, just that bozo majordomo undercounted COVID-related nursing home deaths. And then the New York State Assembly hired a law firm to help him in its impeachment probe. And don't you just think it's appropriate that Cuomo gets probed for a change? Turns out, like the Alamo, these women do remember. And when they were younger, some of them resigned to their fate. Now that they're older, they'd all like Cuomo's fate to resign, if not go to prison. Payback's a bitch. Au revoir, Cuomo Le Pew. Thank you.
You're going for Dave Rosenthal. Dave, I didn't know you spoke French. You learn something new at every one of these shows, and that's why you all should keep coming back.
Un poquito.
Un poquito French. Oh, another great reason to keep coming back to these shows is our next comic. She's fantastic. She's returning after a couple weeks away. It's Tiffany Harding.
Hi. Where's my music at, man? Screw it. Let's just
Is it not playing? I thought, holy shit, I stopped sharing my screen. Oh my God.
It's okay. You can get me on the outro.
Live theater.
Yeah, live theater. What are you gonna do? Fail. But anyway, I was gonna dress up for this, but my check from Matt Gaetz bounced. He was supposed to Venmo me. Then he found out I'm a 40-year-old Black woman, and it just didn't work out. I don't know what happened. So, I got some news. I just got approved for my Maryland medical marijuana card. And yay, I went to the dispensary for the first time. Now, I did not know how much science went into marijuana since I was a kid in college. Okay, when I was a kid, you just got weed. Okay, you just got weed. Now, they have put so much research and development into cannabis is what they call it now, that I was so confused. And so I went in, and it was like a process. When I went into the dispensary, first you were in an airlock. It was like, and I'm like in this room, and they checked me in. I gave them my ID number. They were like, "Oh, welcome." It was very professional. Welcome, very nice. You may enter now. And so I go in, and of course the place reeked, but it looked like a spa. It was very nice, very clean. And then all the health professionals is what they call themselves. This is not about getting your buzz on. This is about health and wellness. And so they were like, how may we treat you with our health and wellness products today? I'm like, well, I just would like to smoke some pot. They're like, well, what kind of health and wellness would you like? I'm like, well, they were like, how would you like to feel? I'm like, well, I'd like to feel high. And they're like, well, what kind of high would you like? Well, I don't like, and then I said, well, I don't like being paranoid. I don't really want to get the munchies, and I really don't want to, wake up at 2 a.m. They're like, okay. So, and then they listed off all these chemicals that I'd never heard of. I know what THC is, and I know what CBD is, and that's it. They're like, well, this has such and such percent of terpenols, and this has such and such percent of lipothiols, and this has such and such percent of carbohydrate. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, would you like this strain? This is called Kush Mints, and this is called Tide Pods, and this is called this and that. I'm like, well, I don't really understand. I was like, well, I can't let you go out of here without something. And I'm like, this was so much easier when I just went to the back of the stadium and bought a dime bag off of Jerry, but you've made this so much more difficult. So I ended up buying Kush Mints, and they said this will give you a nice body high without the head rush, and that you can get that. And I'm like, I didn't even know that there were so many terms for being high. And now I'm scared to even try it. And I'm telling you, it's still sitting in my drawer because I'm afraid to touch it. And I'm like, this is freaky. There's so many different ways. Give me them Tide Pods. There's so many different ways. Medical science has completely ruined the experience of just taking a toke, watching Rick and Morty, and going to sleep. You know what I mean? So let's move on to Black history, shall we? What a bridge. So I know a lot of people in this call are, as I've noticed, are not Black, except for one. Hi, Janice. We're going to share a secret that I'd like. And no, it's not February, but sometimes in my journey on this earth as a Black person, I like to share my knowledge of what I call fake Black history facts. Now, this is a little trick that I do because I like to rain chaos down because fuck it, why not? And I share these facts with people so that they can spread them along because life is chaos. And what I do is a simple formula. What you do is you take the name of a president and then you combine that with the name of a character from The Wire, and then you make up a fake fact, and then you say that a Black person was the first one to do it, and there you got your fake Black history fact. Okay, so for example, did you know that Cleveland Omar Grover was the first Black man to break the sound barrier because he took a shopping cart and some fire extinguishers and shot him off of a cliff? Not a lot of people know that. Did you know that Jefferson Dookie Harrison was the first Black man to invent the center of the toilet paper roll? Because when he worked as a butler, he used to have to stand by the toilet with the paper like this. He got sick of that. Did you know that Joseph Proposition Joe Monroe was the first Black man to be trampled to death in a sale right after Thanksgiving? And that's why we call it Black Friday. Okay. Did you know that there is a Black national anthem, and it was written by Flavor Flav when he was a professor at Fisk? When he was, they called him Professor Flavor, and it's called "Lift Every Voice and Dance," and it goes, "Lift every voice and dance, give your booty a chance." Okay. You sing that song at a Black Lives Matter rally and you will be the most popular person there. I swear, just try it. Okay. So I only have a minute left. So I will leave you with a short joke. Where is it? Knock, knock.
Who is
There.
A very polite cow.
A very polite cow who.
A very polite cow who won't interrupt you by saying moo in your face.
Oh.
Thank you very much for letting me perform for you this evening. Have a great one. Rest in peace, DMX.
Letting DMX rest in peace. Always great to just listen and learn from Tiffany. And that brings us to our final comedian for the evening, friends, our headliner. She's one of my favorites. She's a blast and a half. Give it up for Meg Hashem.
Okay, so I didn't know. I thought Simone was next. So let's get into it. Okay, yeah. So actually, it's so funny. So tomorrow I'm having colonoscopy, and so I've been like chugging that Miralax. And to make a long story short, I was caught very off guard when Julian said our last act of the night. But it's okay. I'm here now. I almost shit myself, but I'm here now. So thank you. I wish someone had told me that Simone wasn't here, but it's okay. I forgive you all. Okay, where was I? Yes. So why am I getting colonoscopy tomorrow? I know what you're thinking. There's probably a lot of reasons that we don't want to hear. No, actually, I'm getting it because this is so fun, you guys. My intestines are defailing and I'm dying. Not like on a physical level. Mentally, I'm definitely dying, but my intestines are failing. And so I have to do a lot for that, right? Kind of sad. One of those things is chemotherapy. Okay, that's kind of sad, right? I'm going to walk you through this whole process. So they tell you have to get chemotherapy. My first thought is like, oh my God, that I'm going to go bald. And I was very upset about that, right? You don't want to go bald. I mean, maybe you do. I definitely don't. I don't have the bone structure to pull it off. But it's okay. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go bald. And then I was going to be like, oh my gosh, do you have cancer? And I'm going to be like, actually, and I don't want to appropriate cancer culture, right? Like, that's kind of rude. And the other thing is, I don't have like a cool like ribbon either. So what the fuck am I supposed to do about that? I can't even get anything tattooed on me. Nowhere does it ever say Crohn's survivor. So, because you can't die from it. So that's the most annoying part of all of this. But that's, anyways. So, right, chemotherapy. So yeah, part of it sucks. If I do go bald, which I might, I don't know, my hair's looking okay right now. If I do go bald, I'm gonna have to walk around. I can get a wig. Those are very expensive. Tiffany, I'm sure you can attest to this. They are really upcharging the wigs these days. What's up with that? But then am I appropriating culture by getting the wig? I don't know. My other option, I looked it up, do-rags. I could wear a do-rag. And then I'd be a twofer culture vulture. And I don't want to do that either. Other thing is my eyebrows will fall out. And then I'm not going to have any eyebrows or hair. I walk around with a do-rag with pencil down eyelashes or eyebrows. I look like a cheap psychic. And I just don't know about that. I don't want to appropriate their culture either. I was born in Generation Z and I'm a little, woke, as the kids say. So, I don't want to get canceled. There's a couple other things I do like and don't like. So on my like side of things, I'm never hungry anymore because when I go make food, then I think about what's in the food. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, the salad is just leaves. There's probably bugs on the salad. That's just, and then I have to go throw up. I'm like, this is disgusting. And then I'm hungry again. And then I think about the salad, and it's a vicious cycle of me thinking about food, getting hungry, having to puke or nauseous, laying down, and then ending up eating brownies. For some reason, those don't gross me out. I wish they did though, because I'm being honest with you guys, it's not really helping me with anything. Hair falling out. So I said I don't want my head hair or eyebrows to fall out, right? No. My arm hair would love that to fall out. I'm surprisingly have pretty manly arm hair, which I really don't like about myself. Like, what's up with that? So I'm trying to get rid of that. Leg hair, don't need that anymore. Sophie's choice. So if you've read the newspaper recently and you're a woman, you might have heard pubic hair back in style. Bad news for me, because that's the one part where it is falling out. So I'm like, came at the worst time. Did it come when I was in college? Who knows where I'd be right now? Probably married, right? Okay. I'm tired all the time. This is like positives and negatives, right? I'm tired, and I don't really want to be tired. I have a 9-to-5 job. Not great. Other hand, my boss is like, oh, do you need a nap? Take a nap. I took 3 naps today. Do you know how much I work? Not a lot, because I was doing it this whole time this thing was going. I was sitting at my computer making a PowerPoint for men. So positives are people feel sorry for you. And I love that. I love when people feel pity for me, because first of all, they don't really need to. I'm doing pretty good for myself, all things considered. But I get out of doing stuff. I don't want to go to the party. I'm having a flare. Sorry, I'm just really tired. My 6MP is like acting up. Like, I don't know. Sorry, I can't go. Right? Or I don't know if I can eat that. I'm sorry, I really can't eat that. But you know what I can eat? Brownies. So, oops. So it's that kind of thing, right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Something I really don't like, my mother is all up on me for no reason. She really thinks that this is going to end up with me being like eviscerated, like I'm in Mortal Kombat. So if I'm drinking alcohol, are you sure you should do that? Don't do that. If I am like eating, oh my God, the other day I was eating a 6-piece chicken nugget from Wendy's. My mom started yelling at me. It was like, first of all, I'm very sensitive about eating in front of other people for many reasons. But second of all, Wendy's will not kill me, right? It won't kill me. I don't think it will, at least. And it really dampened my enjoyment of that chicken nugget. And I'm still kind of mad about it, because, you know, you don't want that to ruin your whole day. But it did. And I didn't like it. My mom's always up on me. My mom is always up on me in general, though. So my mom used to come to these shows, and then she stopped coming. 1, because she's scared of Dave. 2, because she was like, why don't you ever talk about your family? Why don't you ever talk about your family? Why don't you ever talk about your family? And then she provided me some funny stories I could tell. So you guys can be the judge. I'll tell them right now. So the first one is, we have a cat. Her name is Butterbean. She's very fat. She's so fat that she can't clean her own ass. So we call her Stampers, because she's a little stamp of cat shit when she sits on stuff. She's like, why don't you tell that story? I was like, because it makes us look fucking obscene. Her second story, why don't you talk about the time that we were playing Headbands? Do you guys know Headbands? Is the game Ellen always, that bit? You know, Ellen Jenner's, what a bitch. Anyways, on her show, she has that game. You flip it up, you have to guess. We were doing Headbands, and my sister's clue was like Mickey Mouse. And so we're like, it's a famous rodent. It's alliterative. And so my sister has autism. So she, for some reason, instead of guessing famous rodent, alliterative, goes, oh, is it Xander the Nutria? First of all, what the fuck is a Nutria? Second of all, not alliterative. Third of all, it's not a funny story. It was funny to us, but I'm not going to be like, hey guys, one time my autistic sister said something really stupid. I mean, I do that anyways, but I'm not going to like do it in front of people I don't know. Her third one, and this is the one that I was like, she was like, you need to write this down, girl. And I was like, I actually don't. I'm really mad I came over today. So I told my mom I'm going to come over. I don't know what I needed. Probably a free meal. I don't know. But I always said I was driving over, and her office is right next to our front steps. So she hears someone coming to the front steps. She goes, oh, I see a little monkey. It's a monkey, out of her window, which was open. But it was not the monkey, which was me. It was an African-American gentleman, so that she'd been calling him monkey. He knocked on the door, and she explained herself to him. She's like, sorry, I thought you were my daughter. First of all, I don't think you did, because I look like this, and I don't think I know any African-American gentlemen that look like me. But anyways, and he was like, I guess he wanted, I don't know what he wanted. She didn't know either, because she was so embarrassed. She gave him a $100 bill and sent him on his way. And I was like, Mom, you cannot think that this story of you being racist and then paying off your guilt with $100 is funny. She's like, no, it's definitely funny. And I was like, don't tell that to anyone. And then she called my sister and told her, and she again was like, why did you tell me that? She really thinks she's funny. I really don't think she's funny. I am her #1 hater. Sorry about it. Another thing we don't agree on is religion. My mom was brought up, I guess, Christian. I don't know. My dad's Muslim. I didn't really grow up anything. But I did convert to evangelical Christianity for a year, and it was a pretty fun year, I'd say. You know, well, how did I get there? Great question. I lost my virginity, doing great, kept on having sex, I was doing great. My period didn't come for 5 months, was not doing great. Told my boyfriend, he was like, I'm sorry to hear that, and bounced. So I was like, cool. And so I started going to church and seeing if I could pray the baby away. And so about, I don't know, 3 weeks in, they were playing Hillsong. Do you guys know Hillsong? It's like this big Christian music. Look up Hillsong if you have the time. They were playing that. I was like, yep, Spirit, lead me to where my feet cannot no longer walk on water, whatever. Blood clots started spewing out. So I had the immaculate reverse conception. So I was like, you know what? God has chosen me as his strongest warrior, and I'll fulfill that destiny. And I did for like a solid year, and I had fun, kind of. I like singing, right? And I like belonging, and I like communion because I like the bread. So it was like going pretty well. You know, I was kind of like, I don't know about this like whole anti-gay stuff. And I felt kind of awkward when we talked about abortion, since I kind of was like praying for, but anyways, I was like, well, okay. But then what stopped me from going back to church, you ask? A couple things. I was getting a little uncomfortable with the subject topic. My boyfriend was like, we should talk. We got back together. I was like, you know what? They were like, don't have sex. And I was like, so true, don't have sex. And then I was like, well, if we're back together, I can just get an IUD and we don't have to go down this road again. So I pieced out on Jesus. And for that, I'm sorry. I'm still thinking about you sometimes though. Yeah, no, it was a little awkward. When I see my church friends on college campuses, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not gonna see you there. Kind of uncomfortable. They were like, whatever, it's fine. I don't think they were. I honestly were like, we should have never let that dirty sand monkey into our church, but it's okay. It was Indiana. So I was used to it by that time. Yeah, but I feel like I just dumped my trauma on everyone, but it's okay. I also get traumatized a lot when Dave talks about having sex. So it's like, you know, evens out, I think. Something else happened to me recently that it was very disturbing. I was sexiled, and for the elder people who know what being sexiled, don't know what being sexiled is, when you get booted out to have sex. Dave, I see you shaking your head.
I'm an older person.
When you get booted out to have sex. It happened to me twice so far. And if you guys don't know the indignity of it being 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, having nowhere to go but your empty parents' house, guys, it was not good. I had to sleep on the couch because I couldn't figure out where my pajamas were because I don't have them at my parents' house. I had a traumatic moment. I couldn't even get Uber Eats because there's no Uber Eats in McLean, Virginia. You know, I ended up watching the whole night the Batman animated series with my younger sister, the autistic one. It was not well, okay? She was trying to play Minecraft to me. It was probably one of the worst nights of my life. And that brings me full circle to what I was originally trying to say, which is I think sex might have ruined my life. That's all I really have to say. Thank you for listening to all my traumatic stories. Dave, sorry I went a little too hard on you. I decided to go easy on Julian tonight. And thank you everyone for coming.
Keep it going for Meg Passion. And keep it going for all the other
DMX.
comics you had tonight. R.I.P. to DMX. Big ups to Paul Mooney.
Aggressive DMX song.
Yeah, it is.
This is.
I don't even hear what I'm saying
I
right
said
now.
DMZ. That's the demilitarized zone.
I do like the idea of DMC just being a demilitarized version, Run DMC being a demilitarized version of DMX.
And friends, you may leave now. We'll be back in a month. If you want to see the improver sketch, you can catch him at other times. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Yes. Okay. Bye, friends. We're going to be kicking you out now.
They're very loyal. Very loyal.